different.
You're
so
live.
speaks.
I like that. It's like, you're live.
Okay.
Do we like sing whole music till it's officially 12?
Well, it might be.
It's
now.
offici-
It's
it's
officially 12. There we are. See, it's a good thing we started a couple minutes early.
Books. Can you pass that to Anna?
I adjusted your camera angle down there.
Cool. Well, here we are.
Hi.
Oh, great. Wait a minute. Hey, yeah.
We can't start with Love Tabisco right off.
Yeah, we
beginning,
do,
or
but
just
he didn't have
because-
his glasses on. That's the problem. Come on, let's have the glasses.
I'm not gonna do lobster bisque.
Are you able to resist once you have the glasses on?
Like when you say that.
Yeah, I knew you would. Because I feel like once you have the glasses on, you might not be able to help yourself. Yeah, see, that's... Yep, I like it.
Hey guys. Hi.
See? I told you couldn't help yourself. Oh, God.
So like do an interview.
Okay, yeah. So I'm Perry Elizabeth Kirkpatrick, formerly Willis. I write books, and I big sister these guys.
And I'm Kate. And I'm third sister. Amy's in between. She does furniture, not writing, but
That's cool. I'm Paul. I'm the only boy, and I write as well.
And on Facebook, you look like a computer
Oh,
with a head.
Different angle.
we flip it to the yoga.
We have two different cameras going here, so we have YouTube
We have-
and Facebook, and
We have like
Do you like his
Facebook
apple?
down there.
yeah, Paul's broken
So if we're
apple is
talking
full.
to the table.
All right. That's better.
and there's Anna.
There's Anna.
I'm Anna. I write, I draw, I sing, I do things. I'm 16 and I just started a blog, so I'm kind of getting into the author world kind of thing. So
Super fun. Super duper fun. So we were supposed to do like an update on what we've been up to, so you could start since you're still talking.
okay. Well, I just finished Camp NaNoWriMo a few days early. It's a tiny little goal, but it brought my novel to 61,000 words. So I still have quite a bit to go until
good,
it's done. But yeah, gigantic step. So that's exciting.
It's really awesome.
Pablo?
Skip. Hold on.
Typing. Okay.
So I'm still doing Camp NaNoWriMo, and my goal is about 10,000 words. I'm like 8,000 words into that, and I'm rewriting the sequel to the Twin Arrows. So that's been fun.
Pablo.
Me?
Yeah.
I started a sequel to Crossroads, and I'm about 12,000 words in. Don't tell Malachi. We're kind of, Malachi, Sierra, and I are competing right now from July 20th to August 20th to each get a novel written. So it's fun and it's hard.
That's awesome. Okay, so I published a book since the last time. It's the third in the Kitten Files mystery series.
Hold it up, hold it up.
Closer, extreme closer. Okay, YouTube, Facebook, and I think it might be backwards. I'm not positive, so sorry.
There's a
if it's
cat
backwards.
on it. Just
There's
letting
a
you
cat.
know.
And it says the case of the serial robber, in case you're having problems reading it backwards. Which
But it's
I do
cereal with a C.
Right, serial with a C. Because there are a string of weird break-ins where people aren't stealing anything, they're just eating a bowl of cereal and leaving. It's very odd. So, that is book 3 in the Kitten File series. I'm really glad to have it out.
It's intense.
Matthew says it's backwards, but
Okay, thank you, Matthew. I suspected it might be. I
Matthew.
promise it's not that way in person. I'm not that good. I cannot write backwards.
That would be so cool. Wow.
And then,
massive mystery.
just because people have expressed interest in these, hold on. I have printed all my short stories as mini books.
They're little tiny
Itty bitty.
Doing
4x6. Kate's like, I need to help you with that. There's too many. So there's like 7 of them, and these are all actually available in paperback, like this mini, tiny size on my website now. So I know some of you guys have read them in ebook, but you can get little teeny paperbacks now.
My favorites are this one and this one. This one turned out really cute.
Yeah, it's cute little chunky mystery. Anyway.
Sounds like Brecken.
Oh yeah, and I'm also writing a new book. It's called, well, it's the start of a new series. The series is called The Accidental Cases of Emily Abbott, and the book is called Red Rover, and you can actually read it for free on the Story Quarry, which cake,
Yes.
which is very cool. So you should go look that up.
Yep, it's the story query, but the URL is stories.wordquill.com.
Yes.
And I will put a link in the bottom when this is done. On the bottom
The video.
of the video.
Oh no.
Okay, so we have Matthew and Parker on YouTube. Hi.
Hi.
And down here we have
Uriah.
Uriah.
Hi, Uriah.
Hello. Alright.
I should actually let me share this to my normal Facebook real quick here. So you guys feel free and talk about whatever was next. I don't remember what
So
we're
we thought it'd be fun to talk about what we're currently reading or just finished reading because some of us are between books. So I just finished reading this book called Sacrifice by Rachel Hinsey. It's a independent author we met at the homeschool convention where we just had our book table. And I just read her book last week. It was pretty cool to meet another author and read her review. So
I got a copy too. I haven't read it yet. We traded.
we did a trade, which
Yeah,
was
it's
pretty fun. And then right now I'm reading Ember Falls by S.D. Smith. And I don't know, people say it's a lot like The Empire Strikes Back was for Star Wars, and so that makes me a little scared because that means some bad things are going to happen. So, but it's really good so far. So,
What have you been doing?
I haven't been reading.
even doing trig. Who's gonna have time for
Yes, but
Yeah.
I finished my math class, which is very, very exciting.
Good for you.
That's why I can write a novel now. But pretty much the only thing I've been consuming media-wise is Thunderbirds Are Go.
Hey,
Yeah.
it's fun stuff.
Quality stuff.
We have a situation. Did you already talk about your?
No. So the book I just finished reading is called Palace of Stone, and it's a sequel to Princess Academy, which is kind of fun. I don't think I liked it as much as the first one, but it was cool. Kind of like Cars 2. Kind of like Cars 2 is different than Cars 1, but really good still.
Right.
Yeah.
But the book I am reading right now is by a friend, Malachi Sear. It's Through All Things. It's epic and it's really thick.
yeah, and that was one of the new books we had at the convention too. It was pretty fun.
The convention was fun. You
Retention.
guys want to talk about that?
Yes.
But what are you
Great.
reading?
What did you say?
Oh, I'm not
Wait.
reading anything. I'm writing. I'm like writing
You
and
guys.
writing any spare chance I have. But because of what I'm writing, it's a comedic spy thriller. I'm also watching an old TV show from the 80s called Scarecrow and Mrs. King. It's delightfully fun and hysterical, and so that's been my inspiration for this book I'm writing. So that counts, I guess.
Yeah.
Some genre. That's fun.
So we were all at the convention, us three were in a Young Entrepreneurs booth. It's something special our convention does where entrepreneurs under like 23 can all have booths there. So we were there with Generation Rising, a team we put together with some church friends. And then she had her
Yeah,
booth with
I had a booth with
another
my
author.
friend Rebecca Jones, and we called ourselves Ink and Sheets, and we had a book. It was really, really fun.
What sort of stuff did you have there?
Well, we had books. She and I have each written like 6 books, and then I had all my short story mini books too. And then we had a couple books by other people. We had a couple nonfiction. We had my Right Mind planners, my Right Mind Junior. So we had all kinds of stuff for readers, writers, whatever. We had lots of fun conversations with people like, how do you do this
Yeah.
thing, this writing and publishing thing? So that was
Yeah, they set it up really cutely. It was cool.
I think my favorite part about the convention was all the conversations we had with people, because there were a lot of like first-time homeschoolers there and that kind of thing, and some people we recognized from last year, and they're like, "Oh, hi!" And so it was really fun to be able to like inspire them that you can make your writing into you can publish even as a homeschooler, and it's super cool. And we talk about how how they published independently, how I'm going to. And then we actually got to tell them about Perry's booth like a few times, like, oh yeah, and she helps us publish, and she can talk to you about it too. So
yeah, we had a few people come over like, Generation Rising sent us. We have questions.
It was also fun to talk to people who had read our books last time, that bought them and read them, and then come back, either looking for more, or just telling us what they thought. That was really fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of people like, do you have the sequel to that one yet? Because I'm waiting for it.
That's why you are starting a sequel.
Yeah.
Well, Tanner
Yeah, Tanner's working on
Tanner's
his.
working
is
on
he?
his, but there was a lot of people who were like, when's the next one
When
coming
did
out?
it come?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, his would lend itself really well to having
Yeah.
Yeah.
a series.
He wrote a Christian superhero book, which is like really unusual and pretty special. So
That's fun.
people really like that.
Don't forget about Facebook, guys.
Hi, Facebook.
Hi,
We have one person on Facebook.
That's pathetic. Hi, one person on Facebook.
All right.
So we have questions here. that
From
we
last
And you guys can feel free to ask some questions during this. I don't know if we'll get to all of them, depending on. We don't want this to be as long as last time, definitely.
Yeah, like
But,
an hour and
yeah,
That
40
was
minutes.
really
was
fun,
a lot.
but
It was
I
fun.
got hungry.
Right?
But we have a few questions we didn't answer from last time that we're gonna go
well, then
over.
people asked all these food questions, and we're like,
Not
Stop talking about food.
No,
we
it
want
was-
lunch.
So far, we don't have any food questions, so
Oh.
you should ask
Yeah.
some.
Yeah, so if someone has a food question, feel free. Our first question is always, will it be recorded and on YouTube after the fact? Yes.
Yes, it will.
And Facebook. YouTube and Facebook.
so you can watch the replay if you missed this, or if it goes on too long for you.
If you actually go and actually
I-
live your life.
Yeah, I had multiple people who were like, "Oh yeah, I dropped out like halfway through, but I'm gonna go watch the end."
We're like,
The fun part about us saying this is for people to know that there's going to be a replay, they would have to be watching this.
That's funny.
Right.
So logically, it isn't that.
Well, okay,
helpful.
so I'll put it on my blog. How about that?
That's funny.
okay. So, one of our first questions is from Amanda. She asked, "What's the most you've written in a day?"
Anna.
Okay, I don't want to say this because then people try to hold me to doing that much again. You know, like you can do it, right? But I wrote 7,000 in a day once.
Whoa.
What's next? Did you have?
That is
Actually, we went to Chick-fil-A,
Uh,
and I wrote at Chick-fil-A, so that's probably what it was.
Wow, it's chicken fueled, right?
Yes.
I think that is brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, Matthew wants to know what we ate for breakfast this morning.
What did
What
we
did-
eat?
Did I eat?
Yeah,
Double.
Honestly.
deviled eggs, fruit, yogurt.
Yeah, it's good. Thanks.
And you all three ate the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm the outlier. I ate a breakfast burrito. Okay.
So I think the most I've ever written is around 5,000 in a day.
I'm trying to think what I've.
I know. I honestly can't remember.
I don't remember. I'm like over. I mean, a few days ago I wrote like 3,300, but I'm trying to think if I've.
That sounds like a lot more than when I just said 5,000.
3,300. So you need to say 1,500.
1,500.
Okay, that's turkey.
That's dorky. Oh,
Sound like
man.
a little kid counting.
3,300. Yeah, so I don't know, somewhere in that department, anywhere from there, maybe higher. I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's somewhere between like 3,000 and 5,000, but I really don't usually do that much.
My goal every day when I'm actively writing is 2,000. So
Nice.
that's usually about what I hit.
Nice.
It was a little less yesterday. Do you make weird facial expressions or noises when you write?
And she said, might as well answer, otherwise one of your siblings will do it for you.
I
Okay,
ride along.
show of hands.
Oh,
Who makes
really? I
Yeah.
was sprinting with you this morning, and you were laughing at your own writing.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, you were.
No.
I'm like, be careful. This is not supposed to be a comedy.
Sometimes
And then
you
you
have
made
to
me laugh.
you have to figure out which laugh
That was
it
last
is
night.
though. If it's the evil cackle laugh, then it's not comedy. It's something sinister.
I have video footage of her where we were supposed to be writing, and I have a long video of her just laughing in front of her computer. She can't stop, and that's just gonna do it
It's
again.
not about what I was writing. It's not.
I
It's
don't-
about what he was writing. And then we came up with a really good idea for some.
a musical. We're gonna make like a World War II musical. I have 2 of the songs already.
And they got a lot of writing done, too.
Mhm.
Yeah, actually, we did.
We're very productive.
After. he
So
got me
mostly
stuff
you
out.
guys talk while you're writing. Is that what I'm
Yeah.
getting?
Last night we've
Last
been
night.
very
We've been
productive.
really good. But
And then
night.
last night we
Last
lost
night,
Yeah,
it.
a
went
little
out the window.
hysterical. Yeah.
It's okay. We'll have to try and do better today. We're gonna have a write-in after this.
Yeah.
So I act things out, like, I think I've done it in the school library before, where I'm like going like this, and I'm like doing this with my hands, because I know I make a face, but nobody ever describes it in a book, so I have to think through, like, how do you describe that face without sounding like a weirdo? So
Another good question is, how do you act out that face without looking schizophrenic?
Like this, the girl in the school library.
She's
Stay
like-
away from her.
yeah.
She did.
No. One time, actually, I was sick while I was writing, so I had a pretty bad headache, and my character was sick too, and I'm like, oh, this works. I'll be able to get really in character. So
Yeah, I realized my current book is following weather patterns here. So we had just had rain, so it was like hot and humid, and then when I first started writing it, so it was like that at the beginning of the book, and then the next day or two in the book is like the current weather right now, where the humidity's gone, but the temperature's gone like way up. It's like
You're just like a
115,
Friday.
and I'm like, wow, I'm really killing this from my surroundings.
It's like real life.
Yes, I do make weird facial expressions when I'm writing. And that's awkward because I like to write at the coffee shop, and so I have to continually remind myself, tone it down, tone it down, tone it down. But I'll be sitting there, I'm like looking around, like, is anyone looking at me?
Can you imagine if people actually make facial expressions in movies as much as we make them do in books? It would probably be hilarious. Because we use it as like speech tags almost, right?
Well, you use it to indicate like
Yeah.
emotion or thoughts or whatever. Yeah.
well, I think actually we're
I don't.
about the same because in a movie
No.
they would do it subtly.
Just-
It would be like they would be doing it during dialogue.
That's
actually.
true.
True.
And
It wouldn't
ours
be
has
as
to be before or
prominent.
after. Yeah.
Right, so it draws attention to it. So sometimes I'll have a facial expression I would make while I was saying the words, the dialogue, but if I put it in, it draws attention to it. So sometimes I actually leave out some expression
Mm-hmm.
that would be natural because
Yeah.
it's gonna sound stilted.
That makes sense.
Hey, we have 2 current questions.
Yes.
Parker asks, how did you all go about publishing?
Sounds like a
We
good
could answer
idea.
that. I think we answered that one in more detail last time, but like we could
We could get the
Mhm.
summary.
like give us
No
an
problem with that, yeah.
You should answer
So-
that one though. 'cause
okay.
it's cool that way.
So, we all self-publish, and so we use.
I want to say first that none of the rest of us would have tried publishing probably unless she had figured it out
And
first.
that's why I asked
That's
her
why we're
to
having her
answer.
answer.
I've been doing it
She's
for
kind of a
10
mentor.
years, 12 years, something like that. Anyway, okay, so yeah, we use CreateSpace and KDP, which is Kindle Direct Publishing, and basically we just, start to finish, the steps look like you write your draft, you rewrite, you edit, you proofread, you can work in beta readers in there to give you extra feedback, that kind of stuff, and then once it's all totally perfectly typo free, you hope, then you format the interior, and you can format it for Kindle book, you can format it for print book, and that becomes a PDF, and then you have a cover PDF as well, and you just upload both of those documents to either CreateSpace or KDP, and
Then you wait.
then you wait while they
Yeah.
process it and make sure there's nothing wrong with the files, and then you can order a proof copy.
Which is recommended.
Yeah, it's kind of good to be able to see it and make sure it doesn't look funky. And then if everything looks good, then you just hit publish and it's live. You can order copies yourself at cost. And then if you've checked the box for it, it's available on Amazon, so anyone else can buy it too.
I really like how they distribute directly to Amazon without a lot of trouble.
You're an asshole.
That's the publishing side. We're still working on the
Marketing.
marketing side.
Marketing is a little hard.
Hey, we're
Ooh,
not
I can
talking
hear
on
ourselves.
here.
Look at that.
Woo,
I'm trying
that's
to
creepy.
keep track of the comments here, but
Okay.
that's weird.
Yes, Matthew, it's really, really easy. Except for the first part when we talked about writing the first draft.
That
Yeah.
part's the hard
Matthew says that you guys made that sound really easy. That's what he just said.
part.
Oh,
Oh, sorry, I guess.
I don't know.
Actually, the hardest part of it is marketing, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
that's seriously.
That is
Writing
the
and
hardest
marketing.
part.
Look at that.
And then once you've done it one time, you can usually just the publishing part is really easy because I still have to Google a few things as I go or ask her. So,
You get better. every
Madame
time.
Google.
all right.
Okay, let's see. I'm getting messages from the living room. Hold on. Oh, here we go. This is for you too.
Okay.
That's funny. Okay.
Mom is giving me feedback.
Yeah, mom's giving feedback.
Anna,
Yes.
are you a
Yes.
Then
we
write
are
fairy
the
tales.
brother's grip. No.
Wait,
Who's Sibling?
you're not his brother. As
No.
much as you thought you were when you were little, you are
Did
not
I
his
think,
brother.
I think everyone else thought it was.
Well, he thought you were. He's like, hey, Anna, let's play Legos.
Looks like we have a Facebook question.
Yes, I was just bringing that up. Let's see here.
Oh,
Okay, Uriah asks, how do you stay focused on writing one project and not just jump all over the place or get sidetracked by something random on Google?
Yeah.
I have a problem with Wikipedia.
Not Google or YouTube or
I have-
Netflix. Wikipedia.
I have personal problems with Wikipedia too.
No, read and read and read, and then I click on another one. Yeah, it's back. But no, I'd say while I'm writing Wikipedia, it can be distracting because I'll be looking something else up and then go down the rabbit hole. But as far as not getting distracted by other projects, having a deadline for the one I'm working on is always helpful. I don't want to make it too hard, but at least having a loose one is good. Having somebody keeping me accountable, like somebody who wants to read it, I'm sending chapters to or something, is always good. Another thing is when I have a random idea, I like to write it down in my notebook, just to keep it there so I know that it's safe, it's not going away, and I can focus on what I should be. I like to alternate my projects around a lot, like when I write a first draft of something, then I decide for a while, move to another project, so it does keep me interested instead of spending a year on the same story. I kind of mix things up. So.
Hi, Libby.
Hi. My main tip for that one is basically compete with Malachi's here.
That is very motivating because he writes
Yeah, he
fast.
writes fast.
Any-
He has got like 1,000 words done in just like one sprint, just like.
Yep. Actually, we set a new record for me. I was doing a word sprint in real time with Malachi, and in 25 minutes he got a little over 1,000, and I got 1,100 words.
That's
It was all
awesome.
dialogue. There's no description or anything. It was
Dialogue is
just
easy.
random
Oh
conversation.
man, if I'm writing banter, I can write so fast.
It's like a conversation.
I know how to do this.
Banter is so fun. You can just get lost in it. I'm finally like, you should probably be telling a story here.
No, but seriously, if you have a writing friend who's doing a project or something, it's really good to kind of challenge them, accountability or whatever. But if you give yourself a deadline, say, okay, let's see who can finish first. Let's do word wars, that sort of thing. That really helps me stay focused, because if they're like, "Have you been writing?" and I've been like, "Yeah, but on the wrong project," it's good. You gotta feel guilty.
They're gonna tease you.
What is the name of the thing we're using for word sprints? I can never remember.
It's my right club.
My Right Club.
It's,
Yes.
I think it's
really
still in beta
intense.
right now, but you can get an
Yeah, you
account
can
and use
sign
it.
up and get an account.
It's really fun because you
It's
see
intense.
you
It's
actually
really
write in the web app, and you can see everybody else in the sprint. You can see their word count in real time.
It like
There's like
clicks.
a progress bar, so you're sitting there trying to stay ahead of them and write faster, and it goes back and forth and everything.
Yeah.
Super. So, yeah, definitely having a writing goal. And for me, it looks like I say, okay, by this date, I want to have a whole book written. And I know that if I don't put in my 2,000 words every single day, or I usually take weekends off, but 5 days out of the week, if I don't do those 2K that day, I'm not going to meet that deadline. I'm going to get behind by too much, and I won't have a book when the time comes.
Yeah. Kind of breaking it up into small bites.
Right. So look at the big picture goal. Like, I want to have a book written by the end of the month. What's that going to take in small bites? And then tell myself when I don't feel like doing that, then you're not going to make your big goal.
Yeah.
My friends tell me that. They're like, if you don't write,
You
we
won't have a book.
we won't get to read your book. I'm like, aw, but
Yeah.
I'm working on my other story.
Hi, Mary, or Anime, whichever one of you that is.
Shared account. All right, we got our YouTube one.
Yeah. Let's see. Matthew, how do you all go about the outlining process?
How do you go about the outlining process?
There's a lot of different methods.
Yeah. I guess.
You use like a headlight
I
method?
use the headlight method. So That's what it's called, headlight.
Not deer in the head.
Although occasionally I may look like that when
You're
I'm
like,
typing. So if I'm typing and you
Okay.
see that look on my face, that's because the headlight method went whoop. Oh, it's Mary. Hi, Mary.
So why is it called that?
The reason it's called that is because picture you're driving down a road at night, like in the country, no street lights, right? Really,
Oh, I know
really
that.
dark. Yeah, we know how that is. Really dark, and you have your headlights on. How much can you see ahead of you?
Just enough.
A few yards, right? Just
Hopefully.
a little bit. Right, just enough. So that's how I outline. I actually write out, okay, and I go by chapters. I don't think in scenes, I think in chapters. So I'll say, okay, chapter 1, I kind of want this to happen, and I want this at the end that sets up for chapter 2. And so then I'll write in chapter 2, I want this to happen, and it'll set up for chapter 3. And so I'll do maybe 5 chapters ahead of where I am, and then I'll stop outlining, because if I outline the whole thing, it kills my creativity because I'm afraid to deviate from what I've plotted out 13 chapters ahead or whatever. And so if I only go 5 chapters ahead, it keeps it spontaneous enough for me to actually keep the creativity flowing. I'm weird like that. Not everybody has that problem, but that's how it works for me. And so then once I've written however many, the 5 chapters that I've outlined, then I stop and I outline the next 5. So that's how I do it.
I'm pretty new to outlining because I write mostly shorter things. And with shorter stories, I actually don't feel like I need to outline because those just kind of come naturally. But it's really bad to have plot holes or weird pacing in a long thing like a novella or a novel. So, my book Kira that just came out was the first one I outlined, and I did it in a list format, pretty similar to what she's talking about, but I did the whole thing. And I just wrote like a sentence. I need this to happen in this scene, and I didn't tell myself how. I didn't tell myself how long. I just said this needs to happen. And so I wrote out like 40 scenes. Guessed it would be about 1,000 words each scene, and then just went from there. And it was really cool because it was a list. I could see the whole thing at once, and I could see, okay, this isn't gonna work here, and just delete some and rewrite it. Instead of writing the whole story and having to do that after the fact when I was rewriting, have to figure out how to change things. I could just change it from my list. So
I did basically the same thing. I do like a sentence for every 1,000 words approximately, and I leave some holes in there usually if nothing's coming right then, because I follow like the Cam Wineland main for 3-act structure. It's got like 4 main points basically.
yeah, 4 quarters.
Yeah, 4 quarters. I make sure I get those points down because obviously your climax and some other turning points are the most important part. And then I try to fill in, how they get to those places in between, like the sentence I said every 1,000 words. But like my current outline for novel Y right now is mostly white space. So.
I just want you to know, every time you call it novel Y, I picture that name that's why though.
That's weird.
It's okay. Let me explain
Okay,
that.
hold on. Mr. Forrich wants someone to challenge Tanner to finish book 2.
We shall
We
do
should do
that.
that.
Tanner, you're officially
Yeah.
challenged to finish book 2. I recommend writing like 1,000 words a day and just plugging through. Just
Yeah, but we also know you're doing college, so.
we'll do that too. Do it all, Tanner. Do everything.
Okay, so you're gonna explain novel Y.
The name of it? What's up with novel Y?
I'm Malachi. I've been
Malachi.
talking about you.
Yes.
Yes, we were talking about it. You have to watch it now. After.
Let's see.
why.
I don't know what you're agreeing to. Parker has another question.
I have a question over here too.
And you were gonna explain novel Y.
Oh, novel Y. Sorry. Novel X was the original name for. Well, actually, it wasn't the original, but it was my NaNoWriMo name for Crossroads. Because I didn't know what it was going to be called yet, and I'm not one of those people who decides the title beforehand and writes off of it. I have to look back on it and go, now what is it going to be called? So I called it Novel X because X is just the unknown. And then when I decided to do a sequel, I was like, well, naturally,
Novel Y.
Novel Y.
I like it.
X, Y, and should there be Z?
Probably.
Yeah.
These things come in 3s.
Although duologies are in.
Mary wants to know how many books we've each written. That should be a pretty easy.
Number?
0. But you,
I'm
like,
working on it.
3/4
Hers
actually.
is
You've
like-
written 3/4.
Hers is really long compared to ours, so she's just one-upping us.
Oh, and I
5-3.
actually just released a audio.
You just released an audiobook.
Yes.
It's a short story?
It's a short story that has a soundtrack set to it and a narrator. So it's
Narrated by a
really
professional
cool.
narrator,
Professional narrator.
and
Isn't
you could
it?
call him a professional
Yeah.
composer. Mhm.
Yeah. So cool.
I've published one book and a couple ebooks.
I have a short story and a nonfiction.
Oh yeah, if we're
I have
counting,
2 short stories.
if we're counting
Oh, yeah,
ebook short
yeah.
stories, then I'm fine.
And then I'm
And she's like looking at his short stories like, counting.
There's 7 right there.
7 of
and
those.
then I have 6 other books.
Great.
So
Yeah, that's 20.
wait. Yeah. But it's not 20.
That's
I was
Good.
waiting for you to
13.
notice.
13.
It's 13.
Ooh, unlucky number. You better write it down.
It's 13 and I'm in the middle of writing another one. Wow, that's hard to say.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
So Parker did have a question.
Yes.
He said, "Are any of y'all?" He says, "Y'all." Where are you from? Oh, you don't have to answer that. Are any of y'all part of a writing community? And if so, how do you balance fulfilling their requests, your blogs, and writing your books at the same time?
Ooh.
Time management. I don't do it.
Paul's like, I just don't.
Oh no.
What I've been trying to do, I'm part of Noble Novels, as Parker knows. It's a website that a friend of ours started for aspiring writers to post their stories and get feedback and just that kind of thing. It's really cool. So I'm part of that, and then I have my blog, and then I have our local writing community that we talk a lot. And
all we
then
do.
that's all we do. No.
We talk.
And then writing, and so what I'm kind of trying to do, Kate came up with the idea, is I decided that Monday I do blog,
Mhm.
Tuesday I'd write, Thursday, of course that changes during like NaNoWriMo and that kind of thing, then it's
Okay.
all writing and maybe getting a little blogging in, but you can kind of do it where you, yeah, I don't know that.
So, I don't know. I'm pretty good at balancing blog and my book. Sometimes I fall down on the writing community, but I've had a back stock of stories that I've been able to send in. I need to replenish that soon, so I'll probably take a break between long books to write a bunch of short stories so I can have like a stock of them again. The way I balance my writing and my blog is a lot like she said. I blog 3 times a week, and so the first one is just kind of like on Monday is just like a friendly, easy to write one. That varies a lot in length. It could be just about books I'm reading or road trip I went on, just stuff like that. And then Friday is where I write like one of those more inspirational, hard, gotta think really hard, gotta look up scriptures, gotta research on Wikipedia. Those sorts of ones, that's what I do on Friday, so it gives me like almost a whole week to think through it and get it ready. And then Wednesday, I write a lot of book reviews for Goodreads, and so Wednesday's my easy day. I just copy one off there that I've written a month ago, copy it onto there and post it, and that makes it really easy. So I'm really only writing like 2 posts a week, so that makes my blogging easy for me, and I can focus on writing. So.
That makes sense. I am in some Facebook groups, and they don't really have like stringent requirements. It's basically like if I happen to see a post of something I can contribute, a question I can answer, add something to, I comment. Otherwise, like we used to get together and write at my coffee shop down by me. We need to do it again. It's been a long time since we've done it, but we would do that on the weekends. I know. Oh, see, last time we were all weeping about food when it was mentioned. This time I think we're all weeping about coffee.
I was just thinking the memories, we used to write
Wow.
at a coffee shop
With cookies.
with cookies.
So anyway, I just try. Mainly for me, it's a literal work-life balance in the sense of I have 4 kids,
You little humans.
my little humans, and their need to be fed a lot. Like they eat a
See,
lot.
It comes back to food.
It does. It really does. Always go back to food. So
Oh,
I
there.
just have to tell myself this is my writing time because it's not, and I'm not required to do anything else for them right now, which is nap time. So I put them all down for naps. I do some school with the oldest one, and then he has quiet time, and I write. And that's
We're
about
not laughing at you.
I'm sorry, we're laughing at
Malachi's
Malachi.
trying to get us to sing.
He said he was talking
Empty
about how we were
chairs and empty
sad
tables
about
at the
Andrew.
coffee shop.
I don't know
My
that
friends,
song.
my friends,
I should-
forgive me.
Okay, we have another question over here. If we have, did we answer?
I think we answered.
We
I
answered
think
all the
we're-
ones on there.
Are we
We
good
did
there?
We
share.
didn't get to answer them. If you
Okay, Uriah has another question. So
Cool.
he says,
Angela.
my latest work in progress was a Lord of the Rings offshoot, not related, just a fantasy medieval type theme. I'm thinking of possibly restarting it again. Do you think there would be any interest in yet another book of that theme?
When you look at the numbers, fantasy is one of the biggest in fiction, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As
Whether-
long as it's,
So that could
As
be a
long
good
as it's
thing
not-
or a bad
as
thing
long
for
as it's
you.
well written,
Yeah, as long as it's well written.
well edited, and has a cover that screams this is an epic fantasy book and it
Mhm.
looks right on the shelf along with other fantasy books, yeah, you'll sell some.
Because of
Yeah.
the number of fantasy books, though, I think people can afford to be picky and like say, okay, this one was original, sort of thing. So obviously they're gonna have a lot of themes, but you might run into a little bit more if you're doing like, oh, that was, I can see that theme coming from this story, So
Mhm.
that might be something where you have to work a little bit harder trying to make
Right,
it
just be sure
original.
you're not drawing too much from your
Right, yeah.
inspiration.
I've had people complain before, or I've seen them complain about other books. They're like, that was too Tolkien-ish, or some people don't, myself included, don't appreciate the really big, long, epic journey. So if you're doing it that closely, you will have some people dislike it, or some people will compare it to Tolkien, which will not be favorable to
You'll
you
also have people
because
though who
nobody
are
can be Tolkien again.
you have people who are diehard Tolkien fans and who want
That will
more
love
Lord of
it,
the Rings.
so-
Who
Right.
love it.
I'd
It
say-
will be some people's cup of tea.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but fantasy medieval type, there's so much room within that. You can have what you like about Tolkien, that sort of thing in there, and then you can add some of your own stuff in there. So, I think there's a ton of room for your book to be really original, and somebody will love it. So,
Definitely. Angela says hi.
Hi,
Hi.
Angela.
Hello.
Oh, you're down there.
I feel like saying hello.
Which one is
to
that?
the minion.
She's on Facebook.
that's one. Okay.
Yep.
In case you don't know, we have one camera up there, that's YouTube, and your Facebook down there.
So if we say hi YouTube, hi Facebook, we're not psycho. That's actually the way it's set up.
Oh. This one's kind of interesting from Amanda.
Which one?
Number 4.
Which of your guys' writing styles would you say are most alike? I didn't even know about that.
Huh.
Oh.
I
I
claim
haven't
originality.
actually hardly read yours. You haven't sent me anything from Eagle Dare.
I disown you. No, actually,
You
No,
can't
it's your
disown
fault.
me.
Dropped
You
all my
didn't
books.
send it.
Oh,
You didn't send me anything.
Well, I don't really send bits of Eagle there yet. I mean, I have to just a few people.
I
I've
am
snooped,
such a
but-
social writer. That's why I'm posting my latest one as
Yeah.
I write it. 'Cause read it.
Okay. Hmm.
So I think Harry and Kate have kind of a nice, pleasant writing style. So they're
As
really
opposed to-
alike
We
over
have
there.
written some children's books that weren't too dark for them.
No, I just like reading Kate's style and then reading Perry's style. It's kind of a
no.
nice.
Kate's way more lyrical than me, though.
She's really concise, and like
No, you
Amy
were
White. She's fantastic that way. She's like she
But
just makes
she's
her words like
poetic.
do double duty, and I can get a little wordy.
Yeah, mom kind of like plastered Evie White to my face, which I love. I love.
She's like Amy White.
I love the elements of style. It's such a good book. So
I like it too, but I also
she's really poetic. So I
I
don't
put-
feel like
I put poetry where you wouldn't usually expect it.
But you guys write about characters.
you don't.
What do
No,
you
not
write
really.
about? He writes about robots.
You
with no
write
hearts.
about happenings. Is that what you write about?
And
I
ideas.
write like action and dialogue and stuff, but the stuff that surrounds their dialogue and action and stuff is
Oh.
like really like
Settings.
not just your setting, but like the way you describe people and their actions and the way they interact is more insightful.
He is fantastic at humor. He wins points on that. Like, so I said Perry can make words do double duty. He can make like any
Words have
sentence
double meaning.
funny. It's really good.
It gets me in trouble
He wrote
actually.
this
That's why
story.
Anna was laughing
Hi,
at my
Austin.
story.
Hey, Paul wrote this story a long time ago, and the Seers have read it, but nobody else. It was called The Clipper Ship, and it was like alternate history. Like he had, it was like during the 1800s, and they were doing a railroad
Was
or
it
something.
1800s? But
But-
then they also had like
But they
Wi-Fi.
had Facebook, and so the ambassadors of foreign countries were talking to each other on Facebook. And the president was irritated and smashed a computer or something. But yeah, he's really good at humor. And then I don't know. Would you say yours is like mine? Oh, come on.
Honestly, I don't know because I usually write like sort of like short, whimsical, poetical things, whatever. And then this novel is
Is that
like
between Eagle there?
completely different. It's totally action
Well, 'cause it's
with
genre.
some of that in there.
It's a
That's
genre
true, it's
difference.
genre. So I don't know if I write like. Hopefully, I write with more heart than him. No.
His
I
has heart.
think it's a combination of you guys.
Less
Yeah.
poetic.
Yeah, I think probably a combination.
Except for
No,
maybe
my
he
problem is
he
my-
gets poetic in his endings.
I know.
Like,
Like think of like Crossroads and Wisp.
Yeah.
That's
Anyone-
really poetic. at the end.
Oh,
Has
Wisp
anyone
is
read
pretty
G.K.
poetical.
Chesterton?
Shh. I pretend I didn't write that one.
It's a good one.
No, I mean just for the purpose of this conversation.
Oh, I see. You're
It's
saying
different.
it's an outlier.
Yeah.
Okay.
Has anyone read G.K. Chesterton? Because he does a little bit of that. He'll just be like
Yes.
having this crazy adventure, and then suddenly you're like, whoa.
Whoa, that meant lots of things.
So,
Okay, Uriah says he's never actually read Lord of the Rings. He's using it as an example of the genre.
Oh,
okay,
cool.
that
Yes,
makes sense. Yeah.
definitely people
Yeah.
read that genre.
No, that genre is big. So there's a fantasy medieval. I mean, there's a ton of different subgenres of fantasy. Fantasy medieval is the most classically thought of fantasy, and that is a big market, especially if you can be really original.
There's
which
things like urban
I'm sure.
fantasy though.
I'm sure you can do that. Then there's another one called Kingdom Adventure, which is it's a more recently named genre, but it's actually really popular. It's medieval fantasy without magic. That's become more popular too.
Like
So-
it could almost feel like it's historical fiction, except it's not actually
right.
based
You
in
didn't have to
history.
research. So that's always fun.
Like that's
I
what
read that.
Claros was basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I read that. So, but there is definitely a place for your book.
Hi, Penny. And who else was it? Somebody. Oh, Austin.
Mary wants to know, Kate and Paul, you both take classes at GCC, right? Do they offer any writing courses other than basic comp classes?
Yeah.
Yeah, we took a creative writing course together.
On short stories. That's where I got my back step of short stories because we had to write one like every month, which was a little hard writing on a schedule, but it was really good for us.
Yeah, it was habit forming. It wasn't revolutionary, like it wasn't amazing. But the one thing it did teach me is that at least for short stories, you can come up with an idea instead of just waiting for inspiration to strike. It taught me some brainstorming techniques and stuff to come up with 5 ideas and
That
then
is
pick
really
the best one and get it on paper by
Yeah.
deadline, that sort of thing. Also, really, I always told myself I couldn't write short stories because I was too wordy. It taught me how to pare down my idea and look more like a snapshot. The figure out how big of a picture to cover with a short story, and I was able to do 4 of them. So
Yeah.
it was kind of fun.
That was cool. And then the feedback from the classes was good too. I took another class. It was supposed to be on like outlining your novel, but it didn't really teach that like at all. It barely taught. So that was a little bit of disappointment, but some feedback was good. Having a schedule was good. So I haven't really found the college writing classes that I've been to helpful, but they certainly do have some. So.
Do you have any YouTube comments that we need to address?
No, none of them need to be addressed.
There aren't any right now.
Are you just messing with Malachi over there? Is that
No.
what it's
Let's
like?
do this one. I'm so dumb.
Oh no, we need to try. We gotta try.
How fast can you say wrist watch without stumbling? And when we were going
Yeah,
through
she
the
repeat it.
questions,
She read
we
it.
were going through the questions and she read it and she's like totally stumbled over it. We're like,
Well,
Yeah,
there's your answer.
Totally bad.
That is surprisingly hard.
wristwatch.
Wristwatch.
Wristwatch. Wristwatch.
Wrist.
Watch.
So it's not how slow, it's how fast.
That's about fast.
Wristwatch.
Wristwatch.
It really
Wristwatch.
helps if you hit the consonants as
The
hard
R.
as
Wristwatch.
you can. Wristwatch.
Watch.
Wristwatch. No.
Back to that question question about my facial expression.
Yeah.
Okay, I once in my communications class in college, I convinced the other students we were doing 2 truths and a lie. I convinced them I was from another country.
That's awesome.
What
So,
country?
I'm like, yeah.
What country did you specify? or
No,
did you
I'm
just-
like, I'm from another country, and that was the one that they thought was real.
That's hilarious.
So,
That is so funny.
wristwatch. Wristwatch.
Wrist
Yeah.
watch.
That's so funny.
Hey, Penny wants some advice on how to write a short story.
She says she's too
says
wordy.
she says she's too wordy as well.
Kira asked me that.
Oh yeah.
What did you tell Kira?
I told her because I found this hard too, and I write short stuff, and I even found it hard. I shoot for 5,000 words ish for my short stories. Some are shorter, some are longer, but the way that I keep it to that is I focus on one storyline. You don't get side plots when you're writing a short story. You don't get side characters who have anything interesting about them. You have
really have to focus.
you have one main character. It really helps if you only have one point of view character.
And if it happens in like a short time frame.
It can happen in a short time frame, and that's going to feel the most natural. You don't have to necessarily stick to that, but it will feel the most natural if it's a shorter time frame. And stick to just one happening, one event. Where are we making?
She just does that. Yeah, that's good advice. Yeah.
No, that's really good. The other thing I would say about that is, wow, 5,000 words? Because in my creative writing class, they started us at 500 words.
That's flash
And then
fiction.
we had to work up to 1,500, and that was like pulling teeth.
Mm.
So
To get it that small.
you have
this hard?
I have.
yeah, to start writing that short. The thing is I'd say it's like focusing on, if you're writing that short, focusing on just one scene is really good.
Yes. If you go a little
Having-
longer, you could have a couple more scenes, but really just the one happening.
Sneaking your description in there, you have one sentence to describe this place, another sentence to describe each character. They get one sentence, and then the rest is the story. Like, you really can't spend a bunch of time on being Ellen Montgomery and describing it.
Yeah, you can't do a bunch of character development and that sort of thing. You can't really do a bunch of backstory unless it's like a little flashback or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you really just have to cut a lot away. But I'd also say, kind of like you were just mentioning, instead of just zooming in on one event, well, I would say in addition to zooming in on one event or one section of time, to uncomplicate your plot, it's also helpful to kind of zoom out a little bit on your description, your conversations, those sorts of things. You don't have to cover all the same ground. If someone says something, don't have the other person ask for clarification and then the person explains more, sort of thing. You can streamline it a little bit and not have as complicated and deep conversations, but still get the same point across. Those sort of things.
Yeah.
And you can treat it like a really short TV show episode too, where it takes place. You can even have it where it takes place all in one location. Now, the way she's writing short stories, she has a little bit more room to like do some interesting stuff, and that is acceptable length for a short story. If you're doing flash fiction like I had to do for school, keep it to one location, keep it to 2 characters, keep it to like almost no description, and
Yeah.
make your words do double duty.
Yeah.
Which I think that's partly why you're so good at that. It's because you've made yourself write a lot of short stories, so you can make
Right.
your words
Every word
important.
that you use,
word
every
counts.
description that you make, it has to pack the most punch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she says that would be hard for me because I love character development. I think
Yeah.
you can get really good at doing character development fast.
Right.
Mhm.
Like
And
just like giving
I've
them
had
one
some
thing to think
comments
to.
on this one like that. Stronger for language. People feel like they know the character,
Mhm.
and this one's. How long is this one? It's only
very long.
It's somewhere between 3,000 and 5,000. I don't remember for sure. It might be 3 something, but
Yeah.
you know, and it's
It's really rich too. Like you wouldn't think that it's a short story.
Bye, Amy.
What do you think is gonna make an appearance right now?
Bye. She just
Pop your head in.
she
Amy.
just snuck in this
Yeah,
table
you
with
can come say hi.
Brush your
off
head.
this table. It was like behind the camera.
Do you want the toothbrush too?
No.
Yeah.
it's up to you. If you and your toothbrush are that tight, then yeah, you can.
Hi everyone, I'm the sister that doesn't really write so much. This is my toothbrush. I had to come in and find it. So
You poor
if
toothbrush.
anyone has any name ideas for it, that'd be really helpful.
That way she can call it next time it's lost.
Just come to her.
Oh, toothbrush,
Oh,
where are you?
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
man. That is funny.
All right.
What were we
Oh,
talking
this is
about?
funny.
What?
Getting short stories. Do you have any tips on short stories? You always make yours sad.
Mine are always sad. Well, not always.
Bittersweet.
Yeah, I was
There's-
thinking about the.
Wait, yeah. What was his?
No, you were talking.
Melancholy. That's the word.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Okay, what?
I was thinking about the character development thing, and I think sometimes in a longer fiction, you can.
How do you know that?
Okay, that's creepy,
Malachi.
Malachi. Thanks.
Wait, what?
He says,
She brings her toothbrush to church.
and
He
to
goes-
the coffee
She does,
shop.
okay, maybe not, but she does bring it to church sometimes. How did you know that?
Okay, moving on from Mr. Toothbrush.
With character development, I think in longer fiction, you can oftentimes take an approach where you're kind of like warming up
Mm-hmm.
the character, that sort of thing. So with a plot of a short story, I think it's important to make sure for character development, make sure the plot is characteristic moments and those sorts of things, making sure everything the character does in the main plot of the story is in character and that sort of thing, and you'll get a really good idea of who they are.
Yeah. People tend to stereotype, which normally is kind of a bad thing, but you can use it to your advantage in short fiction, because if you indicate that they're kind of people, they know your character.
He broke
really
his glasses, and that's what made the adventure happen. You know, like that
Yeah.
immediately
You're
tells
gonna
you what
know.
kind of guy he is.
Yeah, you're gonna know who he is.
And just even so, like if you make their actions, there's different words you can use for actions. If you have someone walking, and you have them skipping, you're like, okay, little kid or slightly odd adult that's really happy. Or if they're trudging, they're discouraged. I mean, you can seriously, that's one word that doesn't add to your word count, but just switch it out for something else, and you immediately tell us who this person is. So
You set the tone.
Do you have a name suggestion for Amy's toothbrush?
Do I or
No, we do.
No, someone said-
we do.
Name it
Penny.
Carol.
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 The toothbrush
Wow.
we named Carol.
Okay,
that'd be
Sounds
really
like a
fun to shout,
toothbrush.
Carol.
Carol. Where are you?
I like it.
We have
Alright.
something on.
We'll let her know.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
Austin says, I'm not really into short story writing. I like a vast story with many things going on. My question is, what in a short story do you find difficult to write?
The short story.
The whole thing.
I'd say for me, action is probably why I make
Mhm.
mine sad and more like just whimsical and like just focus on one place and one happening, you know? Because if I try to do action in short stories, it ends up being really choppy and really fast.
Yeah.
Actually,
Trying to
can
pack
take
it
a
all
lot
in.
of words.
I wrote one of my 4 for that class was action based, and I just had to keep cutting it down, and basically the whole time he was running.
Hey, running's good. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's an interesting. Sorry, I'm having an epiphany. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that for me, it's probably description. I'm a description junkie. Like she said, I like to get poetical, and I'm like, let's describe the refrigerator in a way no one has ever described the refrigerator before.
I'm sorry. I have to interrupt because you'll appreciate this. Some people are addicted to prescription drugs. I think you're addicted to description drugs. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
That's so insensitive.
So no, but like description is just my favorite part, and I just love adding more or thinking of weird ways to do it. I read an edited version of The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak, and I was in heaven the entire time because he seriously is ridiculous with description, and it's just perfect. So I have to really hold myself back on that, and that's kind of hard. So what was your epiphany?
Oh, just the fact that action to do it well often takes more words, and so that's part of why I have a hard time with it in short stories. Sorry. I think the hardest part of a short story for me is well, this can go for any length actually. Moving someone from here to there. Literally, the hardest part of writing is moving someone across the room. I'm not kidding.
Yes.
Actually,
Yeah, no,
I've
you
got
need
it worse.
teleportation.
You're like, nope, that's dorky. No, that's ridiculous. No, that doesn't even make sense. No, that doesn't sound right.
and that's not even like
I've got it worse.
physically possible.
My story right now, they're traveling basically all over the United States, and they can't use airplanes. So everything's a big car trip, and they have important
You're like-
conversations
You're
along
like
the way.
if Tolkien had cars in Middle Earth.
Right, but you can't get 36 hours of straight talking in there without
You
it
just skip some
talking.
The
So
best way to handle that is
That's
to
fine.
have someone fall asleep.
Yeah, and then your point of view character falls asleep, wakes up when you
I
get there.
literally
I actually
just
just
did
did that.
that.
Yep.
That totally
I just did
works.
that.
That
No,
totally
seriously,
works.
how do you get someone from Alaska?
Oh, Austin says my joke
Down to
was
Mexico.
sad. I thought it was
What's
pretty
that?
awesome. My
The
joke was
description
sad about
jokes,
description
yeah.
No,
jokes.
it was sad. It was
Sorry.
I
funny.
think
sad.
it was corny. It was Maybe we
Alright.
need to edit that out. That was really corny.
Yeah.
Let's see.
They all like it on YouTube. They're all quoting it.
Description addicts.
Okay, here's one from Amanda from last time. Have you guys ever tried to co-author together?
Okay, you guys are entertaining over there on YouTube. You know.
Is that the
YouTube-
peanut gallery?
YouTube is having conversation about how they get characters from one side of the room to the other. Malachi's like, I just have him get knocked out. Angela is like, who drags him over to the other side of the room?
Guys,
That's
do
paraphrased.
you answer this one?
Okay, co-authoring.
Have we ever tried to co-author together?
I used to suggest that to Kate. Like, we should write something together because I could never really write on
We
my
actually
own.
share a character.
But I had
so
ideas,
it's
so I
fun.
was like,
That kind
oh,
of works.
we should co-author.
That
And
counts.
she was always like, well, I'm working on something.
No, that counts.
Sorry.
So basically, what?
So I said, okay, I'll write my own novel, and then I published the first novel in the thing.
Yeah, and so what
Out of
he
revenge.
did is he's like, okay, so if we're not gonna collaborate on a story, I'll just steal some of your characters.
And I
He
did
has
that.
two of my
No.
characters in his book.
Okay.
That's not how that
Um,
happened.
I'm
It's
making
cool
up.
though that they're like
No.
interwoven.
We the 3 in common. We wrote that.
Oh, we
You're
did.
right. We all three. Okay, 3 in common. You can go see it on my blog. It is hilarious. It's not on Wi-Fi. It is so weird. We were sitting in the van, really bored, probably.
It's really short. Just
And
give it.
It's on your blog.
yeah, it's on my blog.
It's weird.
Oh
It's
wait, no, it's
pointless.
not on my blog.
Where is it?
it's no, it's not pointless. It's brilliant. We took
Where
turns.
do
We
I
passed.
find it?
I'll grab it. We passed it back and forth. We passed my phone back and forth, and it was just like in like a little note keeper thing, and we each wrote like a few lines, and then he had the brilliant just wrap up ever.
Yeah. That's great. So
Oh man.
So yeah,
It's
we did
worse.
the
stories.
stories.
Yeah,
Yes.
committee stories are something that we did when we were kids all together, and it was
We still pull some out sometimes and do them.
so
Oh
funny.
wow, guys, you're slandering Charlie Brown.
Angela.
What?
What?
Charlie Brown is like
Having what?
children's show. You know. Careful.
Oh, because he said Charlie drags his character to the other side of the room. He means Charlie in his book.
Okay. Wow. It would be really fun to co-author something together. Since Paul and I share a story, it'd be really easy to do.
Mhm.
Maybe.
We should
Well, and
try
then
it
it wouldn't
on
necessarily
my
be
short stories.
easy because I have kind of an overbearing personality. No.
No, your
We
ego.
told you to leave
It's
your ego behind for this one. You brought it to the last one.
No.
You had to leave it out there. That's why the door is locked.
I don't think there's room for
Oh,
it anyways.
Austin suggests walking. It works. You get places. That's
Thanks,
a good
Austin.
tip. Thank you. I'll have
Thanks,
to try
Austin.
that.
But the word walking is really boring, so I literally use like trod, strode.
Yeah, and why walk when you can fly?
Yeah, see,
Exactly
anyways,
that,
yeah.
right?
But some people can't. Because I'm not writing fantasy.
I am trying to get my husband to co-author something with me. I just kind of rediscovered Choose Your Own and Choose Your Own Adventure books, and I'm like, we could totally write one together. So I wanted him. I want him to do that.
Yes. He's
So
he'd be
Tyler,
great
if
at
you're watching, it's been made public
Do
that I want
it.
you to do it.
that. Yeah. All right. So while Anna's looking for the 3 in common, because that's what the guy was looking for. Let's answer one from Bethany.
I'm gonna totally bomb at this one because I am so bad at remembering those things. It's
You
Same
can
funny.
here.
do the
What is
last
it?
if you want.
Oh, I already said mine. That's right.
What's the question?
So, what from Bethany? What books have inspired you most? Either inspired your writing or you as a person. My answer's gonna be too long. So go ahead.
Tear it down. I'm gonna say Elements of Style by Strunk and White. It's really,
So that
really
inspired your writing.
Yeah.
So I'll do 3 categories. This is how I pair it down.
Oh,
So
Wow.
me
It's
as
like,
a person.
Okay, this is an outline.
Me as a Person, Evangelist in Chains by Elizabeth Wagler is a story of some Moravian Christians who are persecuted and trust God all the way through that.
It's really
And then there's a biography of John Hyde. He's called like the Apostle of Prayer. He's a missionary who was very sickly, and he couldn't do a lot of missions work, but he prayed like all the time, held prayer conferences, and at one point he kind of, and this sounds bad, but he made a deal with God. He prayed every day. He's like, God, can 6 people come to Christ a day? And then he like kept upping it, and God is doing it. So it's pretty cool. So that really inspired me. Just as like, even if you can't do the big things, there's still something you can do.
Hi, Johnny.
Oh hi. Let's see. So those inspired me as a person, and then writing, like non-fiction inspired writing. There's one by Gail Carson Levine. It's called Writer to Writer. That was like really encouraging to me. It made just reminded me that writing was really fun. Like she gave some tips, but she just made it sound like the joyful discovery it is. There's an E.B. White biography by Melissa Sweet. When you open it up, it's like a scrapbook. They took like
It's beautiful.
pictures of his first drafts. Just it's the most beautiful book ever, and that also encouraged me that writing was really fun. And then as far as like fiction books that have inspired my writing, The Shield Ring by Rosemary Sutcliffe got me obsessed with medieval. I would recommend reading that, Uriah. I think you'd really like it. It does have some like pagan mythology in it because it's ancient Britain, but
Ancient Britain.
then-
I'm sorry.
Oh, come on.
There's a character named Britain. Let's see.
It's really old.
That's really all I can think of right now. But I could just keep talking about books,
I
so I should
think-
probably get someone else to turn.
We have an E.B. White thing going.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Inspired. I've read books before.
That was inspiring.
That's so sad.
Wow.
I've read books before,
Just say GK turn.
and I've
Right.
enjoyed a lot of them. I don't know what inspiring means exactly, but I like if I could emulate someone's style or that sort of thing. I really like G.K. Chesterton's stories. They're funny, deep, and clever or odd plots. Like just kind of
Very thought out.
unusual, out of ordinary ideas. C.S. Lewis is of course awesome, and let me think. As far as like really epic goes, I really like Kane Wyland's stuff. Storming and
Yeah.
Zoolander,
Yeah.
those are really epic.
Those are really good.
So if I could like mash all 3 of those sorts of things together, I think that'd be pretty good. I also I like, as far as writing books goes, I like structuring a novel.
You gonna
Like
answer
Kane
the
Wyland.
question? Or you're gonna...
That was good.
Perry can answer it first.
So she already
I
answered.
already did.
Oh, okay, I'll answer it really fast. Though I'm not sure I remember. Let's see.
Books
Kate
inspired you.
found. Oh, okay. So what inspired my writing? A little bit, like not in the very beginning, but like was a book that was super amazing for it was Word After Word After Word.
Yeah,
Wait,
Patricia McLaughlin.
Patricia McLaughlin. It's this little kid book, right? So with like cute illustrations and stuff. And it's like middle grade, kids at school learning to write from the creative writing teacher that comes in. It was amazing.
I haven't read that. actually.
You need to read
Yeah,
it. It's really
so
short.
It's so short. And
Okay.
It was
she's
so
so good at
good.
writing short, but like really impactful.
Yeah,
amazing
see, I
things.
think she's my hero for short books.
She and
There
Evie
you
White.
go. Right?
They're
They
short
both are
heroes.
short.
Hey now, I am short. Now let's not have like
No.
short jokes.
And then I guess what would inspire me wanting to write and like kind of inspire my view on life a little bit would probably be The Book Thief. Edited, Mom whited out a version for us. One for each of us, which was super awesome.
Because like I
Yeah.
said, Marcus Zuzak is so original. It's amazing.
Yeah.
He describes the sky as like the color of chocolate or whatever, but in this case
Yeah.
it's not a good thing. And then he gives the ending away of the book like 5 times, but each time you don't really know the characters
what?
when it's first given away. Each time he gives it away, and then when it finally happens, you know the characters more, and so it crushes you every time. And it's the most unique structure I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's like they just give away the ending, but then not.
Wait, did you guys just give away the ending?
No, we didn't.
Okay.
No, okay. Paul just pointed out. How does the sky be the color of chocolate?
Is it brown?
He would make
It
it,
does.
but
Because to me, personally, the sky is blue.
blue.
It was nighttime.
Yeah, I was gonna see if I can find it.
Okay,
Alright.
so the sky's brown at nighttime. We should wrap this up soon because this is just 40 minutes short of last time, and I said we'd make it shorter. We've been going for over an hour.
Oh wow.
Sorry.
There's a
Okay.
question here and a question there.
Oh, goodness. Favorite book with treasure hunting in it?
Wow. I haven't read a lot.
It's book the treasure hunt.
Yeah, right. There you go.
It's about Paul and I.
You know what my favorite treasure hunting movie
Yes. It's the same one as mine.
is? Yeah.
What is it?
What's yours?
Oh.
Let's say it at the same time.
Wait, I forgot the name. Hold on. I literally just forgot what it's called.
Does it have Riley in it?
Yes.
National Treasure.
Thank you.
Oh, that's not a book, but does it have Riley in it?
Well, I said.
Penny knows what that is.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
like those. They're kind of fun.
They're hilarious.
Okay.
And then Parker had one there.
We like them except for the actor.
Yeah, you're right. That's the book I've been referencing, Elements of Style. It's by Strunk and White.
Let me see.
Yeah,
Treasure
yeah.
and
hunting.
actually
I
in
love
that
that book.
biography I like, William Strunk was, you probably know this, William Strunk was E.B. White's teacher.
Professor.
And so then he kind of edited the Elements of Style. Strunk had already written it for his students, and E.B. White kind of edited it, added his own chapter, and then made it into a book. But that biography I was talking about said some stuff about how it was like writing that and his thoughts behind it, so that was pretty cool.
Can we see that behind?
Malachi says, "Don't end it," and I know why.
Don't
It's
end
because
it.
he's busy writing.
He
Oh.
wants you to lose. We have to do it right in though.
All right. So we have 3 left here.
We
and
could
then
we
one
could
there.
do like 1-word answers to these. Like literally just 1 word.
Wow. Okay.
What do you think?
What about one sentence? Because this my answer to this would be like 3 words.
What's your question? Oh, just one?
Okay.
Okay. So let's.
Okay, 1 sentence answer.
What's the question?
We'll have
Okay.
it
So the
ready.
first one is from Bethany. How many times have you participated in either Camp NaNoWriMo or NaNoWriMo? Which do you find more beneficial to your writing? I think I've done Camp NaNoWriMo like 5 times, and since you can set your own goal, it's been more helpful to me because I've never made it through NaNoWriMo proper. It's a bad time of year.
I attempted NaNoWriMo once, and again, bad time of year. I've done camp 3 times and 1 or something. I don't know, something.
Yeah.
Like that. So I like camp. It's a better time of year for me. November's awful.
That's a lot of one-word answers.
1 sentence.
Oh,
Oh.
sorry.
I
I checked
changed
out.
it on you. Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
1 sentence.
Which one have you done more?
I have done November NaNoWriMo once, I believe, and camp once or twice. But
Comma, but same sentence.
Semicolons allowed.
Wow.
I think I prefer November NaNoWriMo because it's more strict and there's more oomph behind it, more of a push, and all of that together.
What,
Period.
what about you?
Okay, I've done Big NaNoWriMo twice. I only finished it this last time. And then I've done camp 3 or 4
Yeah, I think
or
so.
5 times, something like that. Beneficial to my writing, I would like as far as like most amount of writing, I would say Big NaNoWriMo, obviously because it's gigantic amount. But I would say for my quality of writing and consistency, definitely camp. Big NaNoWriMo, I tend to like catch up on the last day, write
Yeah.
like a ton of words.
That's where that 7,000 she was mentioning came from.
Yeah. Alright. So,
Where's your favorite place
Good
to
job,
write?
Parker.
That's from Olivia.
From Olivia, where's your favorite place to write? Ready, Anna, go.
My bed.
Chair.
Just any chair.
Between between the couch and the wall.
She means that. She literally does. And my favorite place to write is the coffee shop near me. But most of the time I write in my little home office.
There you go. All right.
Parker finished Camp NaNoWriMo. Good
Good
job,
job.
Parker.
Angela too.
Yeah,
Applause.
nice job, guys.
And I know for sure that Libby did.
And Penny did too.
And I did too, actually.
Yay!
But I only had a 5,000 word goal because I was
Me
busy
too.
most of the
That's
month.
fine.
That is still a goal. That is still a goal. All right. Libby asked, "What are your favorite animals?" This is our question from last time. Dogs and many cows.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Although chickens are really amusing. Oh my goodness.
Is that a good thing that you're amused by chickens?
I don't know, but I'm going with it because
Okay.
they are funny to watch.
Disney did that to you.
No,
What?
actually, owning chickens did that to me. I always want to put them in pants.
Malachi just said penguins. No.
Very.
No, I'm serious.
You're
Have you
so
ever
sassy.
seen chickens in pants?
No.
It's the
I don't
funniest
ever
thing on
want
the
to.
planet. You know, they look so goofy when they go running across
Yeah.
the yard, but imagine that in pants. It's funny. I'll have to send you guys a video. It's really
No.
Wait, hold on.
Someone
Do your
actually
neighbors
did it?
think you're weird?
Well, I haven't done it. I've seen videos of other people who've
Okay.
done it, and it's the best thing you've ever seen.
Wow. Okay, favorite animals.
I like a lot of animals. I don't have any. But I like squirrels.
You're like, I don't have any, but
That
I
was
like
the most-
squirrels.
That was the
That's
most
it.
polished answer you could get.
So the last
One
answer,
word answers are going
answer.
well.
last house we lived in, my room was kind of on the corner, and it was up in Oregon, so there's wildlife around, and there was this like old shed right there, and the doorway was open and everything, and I would just watch them because there was like three of them. One would stand in the open doorway looking around, and then another one would sneak up. You'd see it sneaking up. They played like kittens. So you'd see one sneaking up across the front, and then it would just leap and knock the other one down. They'd roll and fight, and then disappear, and they'd come back, stand there, like they didn't know what was gonna happen. It was pretty intense.
That's great.
Sounds like my house.
This is true.
The video froze.
No,
that side.
I froze.
No, on it froze.
I would say dogs.
Yeah.
Except I've never had a horse, but I kind of
Horses are cool. Bow ties are cool.
Bow ties are also
All right, we made it through
Says
last
it's
time's
our-
questions.
Yay,
Yes.
guys.
Thank you, Amanda, for giving us questions
Yeah, they're
last
cool.
time, even though we didn't get to them.
We're glad that we can pick them up again.
Yes. Oh, Parker has one?
Yeah, he was asking if we read the series.
Do we like the Baker Family Adventure series? What are our thoughts on them?
I think I read one of the books a long time ago, and I don't really remember it.
I haven't
Sorry.
read any of them.
I haven't read them.
I read the first one. It wasn't exactly my genre, but I liked it.
For the record, I don't know Parker, but I keep wanting to say, bring the car around, Parker. And that just tells me I've watched too much Thunderbirds.
There's a chauffeur in this kid's show we're a little bit obsessed with right now.
His
So
name
His name is Parker, and he's
Parker.
really cool. He's like,
He's like
He's a
Ninja guy.
He's this old guy, but he's like the super ninja.
yeah.
But it's backwards.
Oh, I haven't got to read Iceland yet. I should read it.
What is it?
Iceland
Iceland
Intrigue. It was
Oh.
one of the
Yeah,
books.
I think
So
I read like the first two or something.
should we end with this, or should we not bother since we haven't reviewed it?
What is it?
Oh, no, it's just
Oh,
it's
it's
not very
really
long.
short.
So should we each like read like
No,
like
no,
a sentence,
no,
or should you
read
read
it.
it?
You want me to read it out
The
loud?
three in
Yeah.
common. She hasn't read it
I
though.
haven't read it.
Oh no,
Yeah.
she'll be
That's why I
laughing.
think it's
So it's
good.
called the
Let's see
three
if I can
in,
make it through.
three in common, and us three read it together.
You guys wrote it.
while
Okay.
we
We're
talked
not gonna.
I don't even remember it. So flash
Get
fiction.
into it.
This is flash fiction.
Committee written.
Titus had convinced him, and he had agreed too soon. Now he needed to find the three in common. But first, he had to figure out exactly what that meant. When preparing for a strange quest, the best step is to start with breakfast. Breakfast clears the mind and lightens the heart. Two very good things. The man on the mission sought for his bicycle, mounted it, and sought for a good breakfast. He began in front of Pete's Pancakes, turned on the corner by Gertrude's Griddle Cakes, crossed the street at Fortunate Flapjack, and continued. Then his bicycle stopped dead in its tracks, and he stopped with it to scratch his head.
Good thing he stopped with it.
That usually hurts if you don't stop with your bicycle. There was something strange about the restaurants he had just passed. There were 3 of them, and he had found they all had crepes in common. His face went white as he considered his future. He had promised Titus that he would eat every pancake his mission led him by. The end.
Oh, what a friend! His friend's like, I'll send you on this journey.
Go on this quest. Eat all the pancakes.
Eat all the pancakes you passed. Oh, man. I forgot that's how that ended. That's funny.
hilarious.
Okay, wow.
Paul's like,
I told you it was pointless.
I found it full of American pathos.
Yeah.
oh yeah, you've been listening to Dad.
No, veggie
That's
toast.
from
I wish we noted down
No,
who
but
wrote
Dad
what.
quotes it badly. That's
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's right.
I wish we'd written down.
Found it riveting, full
written-
of flawed characters.
I wish we'd written down who wrote
classic
what
American
part.
pathos.
That's terrible.
Oh, all right.
Wow, we ended with a Veggie Tales quote. That was like
Epic. Her famous thing.
They're
Lots of
having
things.
their own thing going on in
They're
here.
all going lol lol lol.
Well, she said laughing out loud, or he said laughing out loud
Loud
one
one.
instead of exclamation point. So you're going 2, 3, 4.
Wow,
there's
guys.
2 4s though. That's really confusing.
5, 6.
That's.
Okay.
I'm glad you guys are having so much fun.
All right.
That's awesome. Okay,
All right.
I
Should
think
we-
that's
Okay.
it.
Should we say farewell?
So long.
Farewell.
No.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Good night.
Good night.
I do.
Hold on, what time is it, Rain?
Yeah, it's not night yet.
This pretty side.
That's
the weirdest
That's like
He's
you.
like gonna do an instrumental. Okay.
Wow.
So are we done?
All right.
I think we're done.
Tell us if you
We
guys
better.
want another one or one with a theme or one where
Oh,
someone had an idea where we like
um,
read parts of our books.
I was gonna say we should do that sometime. I
Yeah.
could read like the first chapter of the one I'm
Oh, and,
doing.
there's a game
Yeah.
they play on Goodreads where they say to give a page number, and you have to pick your favorite part off that page and
That's a
read
good
it.
idea.
We
That's
should do
epic.
that.
We should do that
So
one.
comment if you want us to do that.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
That would be super fun.
And I think when Libby was on here, she said, "Promise you're gonna do it again." So,
Okay, so we
Okay.
already have Libby's vote.
do we promise?
Okay.
Okay.
The bestest we can, we promise.
All right.
Okie dokers.
Oh, Angela
started that
too.
tag. That's so
Nice.
fun.
Very cool.
Cool. We're
All
up to do it.
That was brilliant.
Nice.
All right.
Cool, nice. Okay, well, see y'all.
Next time.
Bye. Thank you for
Here we come
coming.
towards the camera.
Ah, extreme close.
Where's the stop button?
Whoa! That's a stop button.
And there go the